She called her sister during the stop. Then the line went dead. By morning, the police said the stop never happened. Amara Cole kept her voice steady. Blue lights behind me. I'm on South Linden, near the old train spur. Nia put the call on speaker and opened a map. Wind hissed through the line. An engine idled. A male voice, faint. License and registration. Amara breathed. It's okay. I wasn't speeding. Paper rustled. A pause. Sir, why are you opening my back door? The line caught a quick thud, like a palm on metal. Nia sat up. Mara? You still there? Amara's breath tightened. He's asking me to step out. Shoes on pavement. Another voice, lower. A radio squawk cut across everything. Phone on the dash, please. Static. Then nothing. The timer froze at 02:06:17 and flipped to call failed. Nia redialed. Voicemail. She texted, share location now. The gray bubble hung on not delivered. She grabbed her keys and drove, replaying each sound as a map in her head. Shoulder, cruiser, 2 men, doors open, lights off. South Linden was dark after midnight. It should have been a simple stop. By 8:15 a.m., Nia stood at the station counter with her call log on the screen. Traffic stop, South Linden, 206. The desk sergeant scrolled the KID. No stop log there. No citation. No unit. He shrugged at the monitor. Maybe highway. Nia pointed at the map. City Street. My sister called me from it. He checked a wallboard. Unit 43 was out of service. She took the answer like a slap, walked back to her car, and drove to the train spur. The shoulder showed 2 parallel dust swipes where tires had rolled and stopped. She found a phone case in the weeds, cracked at the corner, glitter backing she'd seen 100 times in Amara's hands. Farther up, fresh brake dust smudged the curb. A corner store sat on the angle. The clerk shook his head when she asked for the camera. It overwrites every night. He paused. But at 2:05 I saw red and blue on the ceiling. Records said nothing happened. The street said it did. Nia photographed everything. Then she dialed Internal Affairs. By 10:30, Internal Affairs called back. Lieutenant Harper asked Nia to come in, bring the phone records and whatever she had. She laid out the timeline on a printout. The 0206 call, the failed texts, the map pin that never sent. Harper listened without interrupting and wrote a case number on a card. We'll pull KAD, radio, AVL pings, and tow requests, he said. If a unit was out there, there's a footprint. Nia slid the cracked case across the table. She doesn't go anywhere without it. Harper nodded. Don't post about this yet. Let us move first. Outside, the heat hit like a wall. Nia drove back to South Linden and walked the shoulder again, this time slower. 2 shallow gouges by the rear quarter panel mark, as if pushed. On the gravel, she found a torn strip of reflective tape, the kind used on push bars. She bagged it, dated it, and took a wide shot of the scene. She emailed the photos to the address Harper gave and saved duplicates to cloud. The street kept telling her the same thing. The stop happened. The corner clerk mentioned the railroad, so Nia drove to the maintenance yard by the spur. A chain gate said, no public access, but an older tech in an orange vest listened. Dorsey, he said, we keep a poll cam for trespassers. It loops every 72 hours. In a prefab office, he pulled up timestamps. 2:05 to 2:10, he clicked. Grainy video. A white sedan on the shoulder. A black and white cruiser behind. No headlights, only grille strobes. He froze a frame. The push bar caught the crossing lights and flared. The sedan's rear door hung open. 2 figures by the trunk, one taller. The overlay clock flickered as the cruiser entered frame. We can copy it, Dorsey said, but I need a signature. Nia signed, showed ID, and slid over a USB. The export bar crawled. She texted Harper. Video at rail spur. Case number blah. He replied, stay put. Don't share. Nia saved a second copy anyway. She stepped back into the heat and looked at the tracks. The record said nothing. The camera didn't lie. Harper pulled up to the rail yard 20 minutes later with a tech from records. In the prefab, he watched the clip twice, then frame by frame. "No headlights, only grill strobes," he said. "Rear door open, 2 figures. Push bar flare." He took the USB and signed a receipt. "This helps. CAD and radio are blank for 206. AVL says Unit 43 slept in the lot all night." Nia held up the torn reflective strip in a bag. "From the shoulder." Harper nodded. "Fleet might match the cut." They drove to the city garage. A mechanic named Baines met them under a lift. He pinched the tape, frowned. "Old Charger pattern. We cut these at Pierce Upfit in 19. Only 8 cars got that wrap, all with the big Ram bar." He checked a clipboard. 41, 42, 43, and 4 demo units later sold off. 43 is out of service, Harper said. Baines shrugged. "Key works in any Charger if the tumbler was never rekeyed." Nia's stomach dropped. An out-of-service car could still open a door. By noon, Harper called. "Dispatch tapes have a clean gap from 0205 to 0212. Tow logs show a municipal flatbed ping at 0222, but the ticket number is blank. I'm filing for tower dumps in the garage key logs. Go home. Let me run this." Nia didn't. She canvassed South Linden. A night shift bus driver waved her into the depot. "Route 6 runs past the spur at 210. Our dash cams keep 7 days." They pulled the clip. Through the windshield, a cruiser idled dark behind a white sedan. 2 minutes later, a city flatbed rolled by with its beacon off and turned toward the spur. The time code matched the pole cam. Nia sent both videos to Harper, then stopped at a brick duplex 40 yards from the shoulder. A Ring doorbell had a motion log at 0207. The owner, a teacher, played the clip. Grainy strobe flicker on trees, a radio chirp, and a voice. 43 on scene. The teacher tapped export. Nia saved a copy to her cloud and a fresh USB. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Stop hunting, you'll get her killed." Nia forwarded the threat to Harper and drove to HQ. He met her in the lobby with a phone in his hand. "Prepaid. Last cell site hits the city fleet yard," he said. "We'll treat it as witness intimidation." In the video room, a supervisor pulled the yard DVR. The gate cam showed a municipal flatbed rolling in with a low tarp across the bed. The driver wore a city vest and cap. The badge reader overlay blinked temp 146. Harper called HR. "Contractor, name is Morris Lane." Another angle showed the flatbed back into Bay 3, tarp still down. No ticket created. On a separate feed, the key room camera showed a vested figure swipe in and lift a ring from a wall hook. The log named the fob, Fleet Master number 2. "That opens any old Charger," Harper said. He printed frames and bagged a copy. "We get Lane now." He sent 2 units to a listed address, then turned to Nia. "We still need the street camera facing the yard. If that tarp hides Amara's car, we must see the approach." They pulled the street cam from a deli across the fence. The flatbed passed westbound with lights dark, a sedan profile under the tarp. The plate read City 12. Later it returned and cleared the gate. Harper traced the route on a wall map. Only 2 places a truck that wide could turn nearby. A cement plant on Quarry Road and the Water Department Annex C. "Cement plant first," he said. Security let them scrub the gate DVR. The truck turned in and out again, tarp still down. No load transfers. Harper's radio cracked. Units at Lane's address, no answer. Truck bay empty. Nia pointed at the map. Annex C sits closer to the spur. They rolled there fast. The chain on a side gate hung new cut. Inside, fresh tire scrubs bent toward a dark shed. On the concrete near a drain, Nia found 2 clean zip tie ends and a scrap of glitter backing from a phone skin. Harper keyed his radio. "All units to Annex C. Probable holding site. Seal the perimeter." Dispatch replied, "Unit 43 just used a city pump on River Avenue. Patrol units sealed Annex C while Harper walked the yard manager through consent. A custodian unlocked the shed. The air smelled of bleach. Inside stood a folding cot, 2 water jugs, a roll of tape, and cut plastic cuffs in a trash bin. On the floor lay a city vest with the temp patch peeled off. Near the drain, Nia found a broken badge reel stamped Coal A. The clip bent. She bagged it and kept moving. A metal cabinet held a key box with missing hooks labeled Pump, Bay 3, and Southgate. Harper photographed each tag. His phone buzzed. Records. Fuel system shows a recent fill by Fleet Master number 2 at the River Avenue pump. Vehicle field blank. They masked the unit on the form, he said. Yard cameras were dead in that corner, but a public works camera faced the curb. Nia and Harper pulled the feed with a supervisor code. A Charger rolled past the pump island with a magnet plate over the door number and a push bar glint under streetlight. The driver wore a city cap. 43 with a costume, Harper said. We moved to the pump. The River Avenue lot was quiet. A maintenance clerk opened the booth and played back the lane camera. The clip showed the Charger idling beside the pump. No headlights. Driver in a vest. Harper froze a frame. The rear fender stencil bled through the magnet. 43 faint, but there. He printed a still and pulled the fill log. Blank fields where unit and odometer should be. Someone forced the form, the clerk said. Outside, Nia walked the curb and found a tiny flake of glitter film near the storm grate. Same color as Amara's case. A scuff mark led from the island toward the river path behind a low fence. They followed it to a service gate with a fresh cut. Beyond, a concrete ramp dropped to the waterline. Tire scrubs bent down, then back up, as if a load went in and out. A low hum carried from a utility tunnel beside the ramp, followed by a short tap, like knuckles on metal. Nia lifted a palm. Hear that? Another tap answered. 2 beats, then 1. That's not pipes, she said. Someone's signaling. Nia raised her voice toward the grate. 2 taps for yes, 1 for no. Are you hurt? 2 taps came back, faint but clear. Harper called fire and utilities, kept the line open, and flagged the location on a site map. A foreman arrived with keys and a folded schematic. Storm overflow. Screening chamber sits past a service door. They tested air with a meter, set a portable fan, and cracked the hatch. Bleach and damp metal. A ladder dropped to a low corridor with shallow runoff on the floor. Fresh boot scrapes angled toward a steel door. Nia found 2 cut zip tie ends and the torn corner of a city vest label. From behind the door, tap tap. Harper nodded to the foreman. Open it. The hasp gave under a bolt cutter. Inside, a small room. Folding chair, water jug, tape core in a trash bin, an anchor bolt in the floor with a broken cuff loop. By a floor drain, a glitter flake from a phone skin. Nia called out again. No tap now. Only the fan and a distant rumble through the concrete. Air shifted at a side vent, then stilled. Harper keyed his radio. Perimeter holds. Block any city unit from the river lot. He studied the schematic with the foreman. This room feeds a second door to the ramp. The padlock felt freshly worked. The shackle was warm. They cut it and pushed through. Outside, a concrete ramp sloped toward the waterline. 2 narrow tire arcs bent down, then back up, like a dolly under weight. Near the drain channel, Nia found a phone wedged in a crack. Screen spidered, still alive on a saved voice memo. She hit play. Male voices. South intake, then dry dock. Tarp stays down. Another voice. Lose the ticket. Use Master 2. A third. Chief wants it quiet. Harper marked the terms on the map. The foreman pointed. South intake sits by the old mill screen. 3 blocks down. Harper radioed. Units to the mill intake. Quiet approach. Hold lights. He looked at Nia. If they moved her, that's the next door. Nia pocketed the phone and started for the trucks. Units rolled in without sirens. The mill sat low by the river, its brick shell patched with sheet metal. At the intake fence, fresh bolt cuts. A wet drag mark led from the channel to a side bay. Harper split the team. 2 at the screen house, 2 with Nia to the bay. Inside, the air was humid and loud. A portable pump chattered on a pallet, hose feeding the drain. Next to it, a dolly with narrow tires, still wet. A tarp lay crumpled, one corner stamped City 12. Nia spotted glitter on the dolly strap and a hair caught in the clasp. "She was here," she said. From the screen house, a voice cracked. "Movement." Nia and Harper crossed the bay. Through a half-open rolling door, a black and white Charger nosed in. Push bar scraped and bright. The door slammed and boots ran. Harper raised his badge. "Police! Hands!" The driver dropped the gear and lunged for the service ramp. Nia cut left and kicked a chock under the tire. The car bucked and stalled. The passenger bolted into the mill. Nia chased the passenger through a narrow corridor and up a short stair. Catwalk. Wire cages of parts. He shoved a crate, missed, and slipped. A keyring skittered out. Fleet Master number 2. His vest tag read, Lane M. She cuffed him and took the radio from his belt. "Dry dock," a voice urged on the open channel. "Move the load now." Nia keyed back. "Police. Drop it." Silence. Harper's team forced a large sliding door at the far end. Behind it sat a white sedan on low stands, trunk strapped, tarp half off. From inside came a weak knock. A second, then one. Nia cut the strap and popped the latch. Amara lay curled, wrists cinched with tape, eyes blinking against the light. She focused on Nia and tried to speak. Nia steadied her and cut the bonds. "2 men," Amara whispered. "One kept saying Chief. The other said 43. Harper called medics and cleared a path. "We have her," he said. "Seal every exit. Find the Chief." Medics moved Amara to a quiet bay. She clutched Nia's sleeve. "Vest over a dark shirt. Radio on his hip." He said, "Chief will clear the form." Nia nodded. "Do you know his face?" Amara shook her head. "Cap low. Gloves." Harper stepped in. "We have her statement. We go for the source." He bagged Lane's phone and scrolled the threads. A pinned contact named Chief, short lines, location hints, plate numbers, use Master 2, and one recent note, Dry Dock East Gate. Harper pushed the phone to a tech. "Mirror it and lock the SIM." Nia took Amara's hand. "We'll be back." Harper split the team. One car stays with medics, the rest move on the dock. On the way, records pinged a city flatbed near the river path. A traffic cam showed the same tarp shape sliding past a fence line. The truck turned toward the marina service lots. "Dry dock," Harper said. "They staged a transfer." Nia checked her pocket. The found phone, the badge reel, the glitter flake. Each item pointed the same way. They rolled down to the water. The marina lot sat quiet under work lights. A guard waved them in after Harper showed ID. Fresh scrubs looped toward a corrugated shed marked service. By the ramp, a flatbed idled with a tarp half-rolled, City 12 on the plate. A man in a city vest reached for the winch. Under the vest, a dark uniform shirt showed at the cuff. "Police," Harper said. "Hands where I can see." The man ran. 2 officers cut him off at the crane and took him down. His radio was set to the precinct channel. The call sign read 43. Nia pulled the tarp. A white sedan sat wet, trunk open, seat pads lifted. In a bin lay a magnet door cover and a roll of reflective tape cut to fleet widths. Harper held up the man's wallet. The badge clip had no name panel, number plate ground smooth. "Where's the chief?" he asked. The man stared at the river. "Already pulled the card," he said. "You won't tie it to him." Harper bagged the radio and pointed to the shed. "Then we search where he staged it." They cleared the shed. Shelves held magnet door covers. Reflective tape cut to fleet widths. Spare city vests. A drawer kept blank tow tickets and pump forms. At the back sat a stamp pad. Approved. Voss, Chief Fleet. Harper bagged the stamp and forms. He clears the paper trail, he said. A tech mirrored Lane's phone and left it powered. Harper typed a short line. Dock clear. Need your signature. A reply came fast. North Gate. Alone. Harper nodded. Units set on both sides of the gate. Nia stood by the fence with a clipboard. An unmarked SUV rolled up with a city visitor pass on the dash. The driver wore a vest over a dark shirt. He opened the door with a ring of keys on his belt. The name clip read, Voss. Nia raised her badge. Units moved. Cuffs clicked. Voss kept his jaw tight. Maintenance, he said. Harper showed the mirrored chat, the stamp photo, the magnet plate in a bin. Voss said nothing. In his pocket, a fob labeled Fleet Master No. 1 and a pump card stamped Master. He looked toward the river sheds. You don't have my officer, he said. With Voss in custody, Harper pushed for the fleet yard. Baines met them at Bay 3. A black and white Charger sat under a lift, push bar scraped, numbers masked with magnet film. Baines pointed at the bumper. Fresh scuff. Same height as a sedan trunk. Nia held up the reflective strip she'd bagged from South Linden. Baines matched the cut against the wrap seam. It fits. A tech pulled the in-car unit. Wiped, but the cache held a root fragment that ended at the river lots. In the trunk they found a city vest, zip ties, a roll of tape, and a cap. The radio on the console scanned precinct traffic on a saved bank labeled 43. Harper called records. Cross staff who accessed Unit 43 keys after it went out of service. The answer came back. One name on a late access, a patrolman reassigned to property. Prior use of a city flatbed, noted by HR. Harper looked at Nia. We move now. Nia's phone buzzed. The hospital. Amara was stable and ready to ID voices. Good, Nia said. We take the name to her, then make the arrest. Nia and Harper went to the hospital. Amara was alert but weak. Harper said they needed a voice ID. He played 3 short clips on a tablet. Lane's radio bark from the mill. Voss on a gate call. A patrolman's interview pull from records. The third voice said, Lose the ticket. Use Master 2. Phone on the dash. Amara flinched. That one. He leaned in my window and said it like a script. Nia asked, You heard 43 too? Amara nodded. Same voice on the radio. Harper showed 2 photos, Voss and Lane. Amara shook her head. Cap low. I never saw the officer's face. Harper closed the file. The patrolman is Kellen Price. Reassigned to property last winter. He accessed Unit 43 keys after it went out of service. Nia squeezed Amara's hand. We'll be back. Harper called IA and asked them to hold Price in the building. He hung up and looked at Nia. No uniforms. We take him quiet. At property, Price stood at the cage window stamping tags. Harper showed badge and asked to talk. Price smiled and reached for a drawer. Nia saw a Fleet Master fob and a pump card in the tray and slid it back with her palm. Hands out. Harper set down a yard cam still, the bus dash clip, and the pump lane frame with the faint 43. Same car, same bar, same tape seam. We matched the strip from South Linden. Price shrugged. Garage work. I move junk. With a magnet plate, blank tickets, and a city vest under a dark shirt, Harper nodded to a tech. The locker inventory showed a rolled magnet cover, cut reflective tape, zip ties, a vest with the name panel peeled, and a radio banked to 43. In his pocket, a prepaid phone hit the Fleet Yard tower and held a thread to an alias tied to Voss. Name the chief, Harper said. Price looked past them to the cage. He shut his eyes. I want a lawyer. Cuffs clicked. Nia signed the property seal. Price lawyered up, so Harper moved on the paper. A judge signed fast warrants for Fleet and Comms. In Voss's office, a drawer held spare pump cards, blank tow forms, and a pad with fresh indents. A tech shaded it with a pencil. 2 lines stood out, mute window and SD. Nia asked Baines, Who's SD? He pointed at a staff chart. Sheila Delaney, night supervisor in dispatch. At Comms, A manager pulled console logs. A training flag covered the exact span of the stop. The badge list showed Delaney's card opening the room just before the flag and again when it cleared. Delaney folded her arms. Glitch. Naya played the ring clip. A voice at the scene sang, 43 on scene. The cadence matched Delaney's radio checks on a QA file. She looked away. Harper seized her phone under the warrant. A thread labeled Chief showed short orders. Open bay. Mute lines. Master 2. Another name sat above it. Price. Harper read the last text out loud. Dry dock. East gate. Clear by dawn. Delaney said, I want a lawyer. With Delaney held, Harper set a controlled reply from her phone. Bay clear. Need your sign. Voss's burner lit. Then a third number. A patrol sergeant on nights. Cope. IA flagged him in the building and walked him to interview 2. On his keyring hung a cut magnet shaped for door stencils. In his locker sat a city vest with the name strip peeled. A roll of tape cut to fleet widths. And a push-bar end cap. He stared at the table. I don't know, Voss, he said. Harper laid out 3 frames. South Linden shoulder, bus dash, pump lane. Same car, same bar, same seam. Cope exhaled. Property called it a cleanup. Seized the sedan, no report. Hand to fleet. I didn't touch the girl. Naya kept her voice flat. You stood by while they took my sister. Cope shut his eyes. I want to make a statement. IA took him. Harper turned to Nia. We have Voss, Price, Lane, Delaney, Copey, and the car. We file charges now. Naya nodded. Then I take Amara home. Back at evidence, Harper set the push-bar end cap from Copey's locker on a mat. SD, he said, tapping the note from Voss's pad. The tech unscrewed the cap. A microcard slid out, wrapped in tape. Chain tag, photos, gloves. They slotted it in a reader. A folder held short clips with no overlay. First file, a low, fixed view from the bumper. Grill strobes reflecting off a white sedan. Cabin audio bled through. A male voice. Phone on the dash, please. Another. 43 on scene. The angle caught a sleeve with a dark cuff and a city vest over it. A hand reached to the rear door, then jerked back as if to hide. Next clip showed a flatbed arriving. Tarp already down. A radio crackle. Lose the ticket. Harper paused and looked at Nia. That's Amara's stop, start to finish. The tech pulled hash values and printed stills. Harper called the DA. We have clean video, chain secured, and the route ties. Filing now. Charges went in fast. Kidnapping, tampering, false records, witness intimidation. The DA asked for no bail on Voss and Price. Lane and Delaney held as material, their phones seized. Cope gave a statement and named Voss as the caller who ordered the mute flag at dispatch. IA sealed the fleet keys and pulled every master fob. Harper wrote the summary and attached the poll cam, bus dash, yard gate, pump lane, ring clip, and the bumper card. He pushed copies to the state task force. Then he drove Nia back to the hospital. Amara lay resting, IV set, eyes clearer. Naya sat beside her. We got them, she said. Amara let out a slow breath. Is it over? The case is moving. You're safe now. A victim advocate outlined next steps. Exams, a safe phone, a protective order, a quiet address for a while. Harper stood at the door. We'll need a formal statement later. Not tonight. Naya set the cracked case on the tray. We kept every piece, she said. Nothing they did is gone. Harper filed preservation orders across city systems. Techs scraped console logs, gate swipes, and pump fills for the same pattern. Muted dispatch, blank tickets, magnet plates. Several stops matched. In one, a sedan was hauled from a shoulder without a citation. In another, a bus dash caught strobes with no unit ID. Harper built a board and drew lines between fleet, property, dispatch, and the yard. Voss sat at the center. Price moved cars. Lane ran the flatbed. Delaney muted channels. Cope watched corners and cleared lanes. Nia added South Linden photos and the pole cam still. She wrote a short list on the margin. Push bar flare, torn tape, glitter film, key fob, pump card, bumper clip. Each piece met a hand. Each hand had a title. A task force sergeant studied the board. They needed all of this because a nurse would not vanish quietly, he said. Harper nodded. They built a process. We mapped it. The sergeant turned to Nia. Your sister stopped it. We moved this to state and federal. Amara gave a recorded statement with an advocate present. She listed the orders she heard, the touch of tape on her wrists, the cap and gloves. Doctors set a plan for care. Harper briefed the task force and signed suspension letters for everyone in the chain. IA flagged more stops for review and opened a tip line for any driver to report a tow with no citation. A state team imaged dispatch and fleet servers. The DA requested a grand jury. Nia packed a small bag and set up a quiet address for Amara. At discharge, Harper handed her a card for the case. You started this, he said. We'll finish it. Outside, traffic moved and the river kept a steady sound. Nia looked at the cracked phone case and the list she had written on the board. For months, records said nothing happened. The street said it did. Now the files said it too. She turned to Amara. Home, she said. Amara nodded. Home. Within a week, the grand jury heard the route ties, the pole cam, the bus dash, the pump lane, and the bumper card. Voss kept quiet, then asked for counsel and a meeting. He offered the playbook. Use an out-of-service charger. Mask numbers with magnet film. Borrow a flatbed after hours. Mute dispatch with a training flag. Fill forms with blank unit fields, and run the victim through city sheds to dodge cameras. He named who took which step on South Linden. Price at the window, Lane on the winch, Delaney on the board, Cope as lookout. The DA added racketeering and false imprisonment. The court remanded Voss and Price without bail. Lane and Delaney stayed on holds. Cope resigned and kept his statement. Harper filed notices to seize all master fobs. IA locked Bay 3 and the pump. Nia kept a copy of every clip on a new drive. It could stand without her voice. A state task force opened a civil rights case and looped in federal partners. Arraignment set for Friday. Harper told Nia to sleep. She would try. At home, Nia changed locks, set 2 cameras, and moved Amara's bed near the hall. A victim advocate brought a safe phone, a door sensor kit, and a simple plan. Vary routes, no posts, travel with company to appointments. Harper called with updates. IA pulled all master fobs. In-car units will stream to an external server. Dispatch can't be muted without 2 keys. Fleet runs need separate logs and GPS. Out-of-service cars will be disabled at the relay. He asked for a brief statement for bail. Amara agreed. On Friday, they sat in the back row. Voss kept his eyes down. Price stared at the table. The judge read the counts, weighed the clips, and held both without bail. Lane and Delaney stayed on orders. Cope kept his deal. A protective order entered for Amara. Outside, Nia watched the river. No sirens, no lights. Just the work ahead. Reports, interviews, court dates. She took Amara's hand. We go step by step. The task force set audit dates for fleet, dispatch, and property and mirrored the case board to a cloud. Audits moved fast. Fleet turned over sign-out sheets, magnet orders, and vendor emails. Patterns repeated. Numbers masked, tickets blank, pumps billed to master cards, and dispatch covered by training flags. The task force mapped each match and tied them to the same charger and the same flatbed. A city lawyer asked to hear from Amara with an advocate present. She kept to facts. The voice at her window, the vest over a dark shirt, tape on her wrists, the knock she used as a signal. Harper played the bumper clip at low volume. Amara pointed at one phrase and said, "Steady, that line." The lawyer closed the folder and said the city would cooperate on audits and repairs. IA set interviews and offered safety planning for staff who feared pressure from supervisors. Nia saved the new letters with the rest. None of it erased the stop on South Linden. It only made it visible in every system that tried to hide it. Harper signed suspension notices that pulled access to keys, pumps, and yard cameras until controls landed. Trial prep turned into policy work. The city froze the master fobs, killed magnet plates, and pushed in-car feeds to an outside server. Dispatch added 2-key approval for any training flag and fixed a public log that shows when channels go dark. Fleet wrote a rule. Out-of-service cars lose power at the relay and need a supervisor to move. Harper sent the package to state partners and asked for outside monitors. Amara kept her follow-ups and slept in short blocks. The advocate helped with forms, clinics, and quiet travel. Nia stayed close, then met Harper to review court dates and evidence lists. The DA offered plea talks if Lane and Delaney testified and turned over phones. Price stayed on counsel and said nothing. Voss watched the clips and asked about time. Harper said the case would wait as long as it took. On a calm morning, Nia drove Amara past South Linden. They stopped at the shoulder. No lights, no tapes. Just brake dust and traffic moving on. The state lab finished the bumper card work. Hash values matched the frames in evidence. The DA added civil rights counts and sent the file to federal partners. Lane met with counsel and offered to testify. He described how Price gave orders at the window and Voss cleared forms after. Delaney turned over chats that showed when she muted the board and when she lifted the flag. Cope expanded his statement and named 2 more nights when Fleet pulled an out-of-service car. IA matched those to the same flatbed and push bar. A second driver came forward after seeing the bus clip on the news. She brought a tow receipt with a blank unit field and a phone log that showed a short call with a city number. Her account fit the route map. The task force added her to the case. Amara practiced a brief statement with the advocate. Simple facts. No reach. Nia helped her rest and kept copies of every file on a drive that stayed in her bag. At the first hearing, defense counsel moved to suppress the poll cam and the bumper card. The court found the poll cam lawful and the bumper clip within warrant scope and chain. The bus dash and pump lane stood on business records. The ring clip was admitted with a foundation from the owner. The judge set a schedule and ordered no contact with witnesses. Voss asked again to talk. He signed a proffer that tied the parts together and put Price at the window on South Linden. Lane pled to lesser counts and agreed to testify. Delaney entered a plea and accepted a bar from dispatch work. Copey resigned and took a deal for cooperation. Price stayed on counsel and kept silent. The city installed hard locks on master keys and brought in monitors for Fleet and dispatch. That night, Nia cooked a simple meal and set Amara's meds. The phone stayed quiet. The case moved without them. They sat at the table and planned the next clinic visit. The courtroom stayed quiet as the case was laid out in plain steps. An out-of-service charger with numbers masked by magnet plates, a master key from Fleet, a muted dispatch board, a flatbed under a tarp, and city sheds used as cover. The clips ran in order: pole cam at the spur, bus dash at the shoulder, the pump lane with the faint 43, and the bumper file with cabin audio. "Phone on the dash, please." 43 on scene. Harper walked the chain. Baines matched the reflective strip to the charger in Bay 3. A tech showed mirrored chats from Lane and Delaney. Amara testified with an advocate near. She kept to facts: a vest over a dark shirt, tape on her wrists, the knock she used as a signal, and the voice at her window. The defense pressed on sightlines. Amara said she knew that voice. The judge set the next date, barred contact with witnesses, and kept protections in place. Keys, pumps, and boards now sit under new controls. Bay 3 is sealed. The record stands. Tonight, Amara is safe. They went home.